Equinox from 13.9. Purchase with confidence at Jeff Schmidt Chevy.
Hump Day Hot Topics are here, because The View is live. Saudi scandal. As questions mount about the alleged murder of a journalist at the Saudi consulate, will the president's defense of the Saudi ruling family come back to haunt him? Plus, the Connors are back in a big way.
Laughing inappropriately is what Mom taught us to do.
And they're sharing how life goes on after Roseanne's meltdown got them pulled off the air. And former co-host Jedediah Bila returns to The View. Hot Topics are on the table with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
So the investigation into the missing journalist who Turkish officials claim was murdered at the Saudi consulate has put the Saudi royal family under intense scrutiny. But the guy in the White House seems to be evolving on this matter. Take a look.
Was he murdered by the Saudis, and did the prince give the order?
There's something really terrible and disgusting about that if that were the case. So we're going to have to see. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and there will be severe punishment.
The king firmly denied any knowledge of it. He didn't really know. Maybe, I don't want to get into his mind, but it sounded to me like maybe these could have been rogue killers. Who knows?
He also compared the investigation to Justice Kavanaugh, saying that the Saudi royals are guilty until being proven innocent. So why? It's kind of fascinating, the folks he cleaves to and says, I believe this. Of course this is true. And the folks he doesn't. Well, he seems to like a dictator.
If they like him and they agree with him, then they're innocent. If they don't agree with him, then they're guilty. So Roy Moore was innocent according to him, and Kavanaugh is innocent according to him, and Putin, he'll take Putin's word over the CIA. This, we'll see. They're going to have DNA evidence here. It's going to be hard for him to refute it. He likes a dictator, but ones with money mostly. Those are the ones he likes.
And that's what I was going to say, because I think the answer to his position is really clear and really easy. It's all about money. He's really declined to authentically separate himself from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And in 2015, he says, when he was announcing his presidential run, he said, I love the Saudis. Many are in this building. He's bragged about Saudi Arabians purchasing apartments in his building, saying that they spend $40 million, $50 million. So Saudi lobbyists, when his hotel in Washington wasn't doing well, booked $270,000 worth of rooms. And so that is precisely why the framers of the Constitution inserted the emoluments clause, because they wanted to make sure that our government officials weren't taking this type of money from foreign entities, so that the American interests come first. I think Trump's money comes first.
But that would mean also that the Clinton Foundation took $25 million from Saudi Arabia and were vociferously criticized. What's going on right now about this journalist allegedly being cut up into little pieces, which are the allegations right now, it is probably some of the worst thing you could ever possibly conceive of. But Saudi Arabia has been committing human rights violations for decades and decades. I mean, bombing of hospitals and children, it's still punishable by death to be a homosexual. There's no freedom of religion. People are constantly put to death and executed with unfair trials.
The 9/11
terrorists came, which, by the way, which is why we all agreed this should have been on the Muslim ban list. But I also think that we need to show prudence, and I think it's completely tone deaf to be talking about this in the rain with an umbrella. He should have done something more efficient. official.
Yeah.
But Erdogan in Turkey also is a completely irrational world actor. So we do have to be careful about what reports are coming out and how we go forward, because if it's not King Solomon that we're dealing with, who is the next person that comes up in his place, which could debatably be worth.
Scary.
I agree. We should not be normalizing.
And if we
this kind of
but
relationship.
it's kind of scary that this guy who Rex Tillerson called a moron is in charge of all of this.
Who did he call a moron?
Who, the prince?
Called President Trump.
Didn't he?
Trump.
Did not.
Tillerson called Trump a moron. The other ones called him an idiot. A lot of people who work with him call him an idiot, moron, and he's running the world right now.
There's been a lot of hypocrisy on this, starting even in the Obama administration with our relationship and normalizing things in the Middle East. I mean, I could go back to the Iran deal and the amount of money we gave to them, but I do think at this point in time...
How about the Iraq War? That was before Obama.
For decades. It's not incorrect. Since Clinton. But I will say, going forward, what bothers me the most is that isolationism is the trend right now in the United States, specifically within the Republican Party, which is bizarre to me, because as conservatives, we should believe in an America First agenda, especially globally. We fight for the little guy. We fight against human rights violations. And right now, specifically, to say that we just believe King Solomon is not only irrational, but it puts us in a place of being deferential towards a country that I think we can all in agreement, as the largest state sponsor of terror, we should not be having a comfortable relationship.
And I think he's doing it because of his own self-interest.
If we don't hold their feet to the fire, then we're part of this. We are in part complicit in all of this. I spent a number of years growing up living in China, and I saw firsthand. My family got to know a man who was basically beaten to death. He's now blind because he spoke out. A dissident in China. And I realized in those moments the role that the United States plays around the world and the importance of fighting for human rights. These are the values that we hold most dear to us. So that is my biggest concern here. It's not a Democratic issue. It's not a Republican issue. It is what we stand for. And I think the problem I see continuously with the Trump administration is there's not long-term thinking with foreign policy, whether it's dealing with Russia, whether it's dealing with China, even talking about our allies and not treating them like our allies, not thinking about 10 years from now.
But the way that he talks gives cover to all these dictators on human rights. They look at him and they say, well, you know, we're going to get, you know, I want to say something about Hitler. Hitler killed 6 million people, as we know, 6 million Jews. And one of the reasons he knew he would get away with it is because the world closed their eyes to the Armenian genocide. And that's why he said they don't care. And that's what Trump does. He puts out a vibe that we don't care.
Not just, I mean,
like the back of
President
Melania's
Obama joked to Mitt Romney that it was a 1980s foreign policy when he was debating Mitt Romney about the ramifications of having a relationship with Russia. He was caught on a live mic saying, when I get elected, we can have a more comfortable relationship. It's not just Trump, the way he's addressing it, he's doing it in a much more clumsy way. But across the board, Democrats and Republicans, we have to remember who we are as Americans, 100%. Which is, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, you know,
I could really get on my soapbox, and
that's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Your soapbox is gorgeous to me.
Thank you.
You go ahead. But I do want to sort of bring up a little weird thing, which is the folks that the new guy's actually gotten tough with. You know, where he's just really gotten, like, you know, our allies at the UN.
Canada.
Angela Merkel. He threw a Starburst candy at her at the G7. Theresa May.
That's so...
He said she didn't listen to him on Brexit. The Australian Prime Minister, remember when he was calling and screaming at him? He badgered him on the phone. Mexico's president. You know who's gotten a pass?
Australia.
The Russians.
Russians.
Kim Jong-un. And the Saudi princess.
You just have to follow the money with him.
Follow the money.
But we also should emphasize, everyone at this table is in agreement that we cannot normalize this. And there still are people fighting on the right side of history on this. And your point, Joy, when you're talking about what happened in Nazi Germany, I completely agree that I don't like rhetoric in any way that could possibly resemble people like Lindbergh before World War II who were apologizing and saying, why should we care about this? It's not happening in our own country. We cannot normalize this kind of rhetoric.
That's what America First sounds like sometimes. Well, that's what those words sound like. It sounds like we want to.
And I think it's really
rich. I think I made it clear. I don't.
It's really rich that he says innocent until proven guilty. Well, that wasn't his position with the Central Park Five. It was always guilty, guilty, guilty. And even when they were acquitted, it was guilty. And that's unbelievable to me.
Very interesting.
That is a good point.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Saudi also doesn't have due process either. If you speak out, you're beaten to death. So.
Well, it's, you know, it's like a lot of dictatorships. It's what you don't want to live in. We don't want dictatorships here. That's why this should be important to everyone who's watching and sitting here. We'll be back.
Still ahead, Gaga's power suit. Why she says her latest fashion statement is sizing up every woman's place in America right now. No other place in daytime does it like we do.
Women need to come forward, but they need to have support.
So come on and take a stand.
You didn't really think I'd hold it back.
No.
Now is the time.
You got to be in the fight.
It is time that we step up, that we speak out.
Women need their voice now more than ever.
All we got to do is link up.
Yes, link up.
Give a voice to your view.
You're going to keep on fighting.
Oh, I'm going to keep on fighting.
This is the place to be heard.
What better place than to be surrounded by women?
There you go.
View strong all day long.
This is going to be a fight. I want it to be my fight.
Exactamente.
We're The View on ABC. Still ahead, the cast of The Conners talks about getting back on TV without Roseanne. And former View co-host Jedediah Biela's back at the Hot Topics table.
Welcome back. There is now a safe space for supporters of the new guy in the White House who are looking for love. A new dating app, Donald Daters.
Oh my gosh.
And you'll love this. Donald Daters caters specifically to his base. So I guess, do you have to align politically with the person you're with? Is it important? I mean, we've known couples who haven't necessarily seen eye to eye.
One of the questions, do you get hot from a dictator?
Oh my God.
I mean, what are the questions? Do low taxes turn you on?
So I have friends that work in the Trump administration that are single, and Meg and I both have friends that work at Fox, and they often tell me about their dating life, and it's not easy. They say that when they go out on a first date, they either have to make up what they do, or who they voted for, what their political views are, or when they do express what they are, they don't get a second date. And so we're living in
which town is this?
This is all over the place. So it could be in D.C., it can be in New York.
Why can't they just date each other? Why don't they just date in red states?
I hate that idea.
Each other.
No, but I hate that idea because you really want to live in a... What if this table, everyone said the same thing, thought the same thing? I don't want to live in that world. I actually find it so refreshing when people come together and date of different political parties.
But that's
because
different.
you learn from each other. I don't want to live in a world where
this table is different. I can disagree with Megan. It doesn't mean I want to sleep with her.
That's the thing. Yeah. I agree.
Oh.
Like, I love you, but I don't...
You don't know what you're missing, Joy, okay?
I know. I don't know. I feel the same way. I mean, I don't know that we could live together. I mean, I love you, but I don't think I could live with you.
Poor Megan. No one wants to sleep.
Why am I'm married. I found somebody who can. You'll live.
Might be a lot of
I'll move
Listen,
into your
I've lived with people that I didn't agree with.
Right.
I've done that, you know, and the idea that you feel like you need to only be with someone who thinks as you think is kind of restrictive in the world, because I just think, listen, there are things that we're going to fight about that we don't know we're fighting about it because it comes from here. So if we learn something, because if you and I live together, we come from different places.
Yeah.
You get a whole new biography of what's out there. I get a whole new biography of what's out there. And maybe some of the things that you feel I can see, and some of the things that I feel you can see.
We'll be all up with you any day.
All right. I'm a terrible
As long
person.
as you share your shoe collection with me.
Oh, you can have the shoes, huh?
But really, though, if you want to live in a world where you only watch Fox, you agree with it, you only watch MSNBC, you only surround yourself with people who think and believe the same things you do, I just think that's a really dangerous world.
Some core issues are so different. Some core issues, like, you know, I think it's difficult if you don't have the same fundamental
values.
I can't even do that.
Like the same fundamental values. But I know, it's like this is a whole different thing. We're not talking about Republicans and Democrats. We're talking about Donald Trump people who believe what he believes.
But they're not all bad people.
I know that may not be bad people.
I think
but they're not offended by what
you are, where you come from.
That's not true. That's actually not true. I talk to many Trump supporters who say they do not stand by everything that comes out of his mouth and everything that he tweets. A lot of them like the policies.
If you still
I hate that word.
Support him?
Well, are you complicit in voting for Bill Clinton?
That's Bill
Well, it's the
Clinton
same
never
thing.
called
I mean,
anybody horseface.
But
This
you
is
can
back to
you can
dating.
debate-
You know,
Let's get back to the,
something else. Well, I was thinking today the difference between Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. When Bill Clinton did his dirty work, kids believed that oral sex was not sex for a while. That is
I learned about
the
oral sex
horrible,
'cause of that.
the horrible influence that he
Awkward
had
as
on
hell.
American kids, which I deplore.
Yeah.
This guy is training American kids to disrespect women, say they call them names, to be racist in many ways, to be bullies, even though his wife
because
says
they're
be best and
we're a
don't
country
bully.
filled of
He's a
independent
bully.
thinkers and strong
And I
people.
think that is
I don't
training
concede
children.
the- I'm sorry. We lived through the Civil War in this country. We have lived through hard times. Listen to me. This is not going to break us, okay? And I'm sick of this. I'm so sorry. I'm sick of this onus that America's going to be broken and we're ruined forever because of Trump. That's not who we are.
Well, because
we've survived.
Because in November, we're voting him out.
And another thing, I don't have to talk about sex, so move
That's
along.
right. So here's the bottom line. You can love people who think differently.
Yeah.
You can love people who look differently. You can love people who are nothing like you.
Yeah.
It is imperative. I can sleep with anybody.
So,
I can sleep with anybody
And she's got the promise
because
on.
you and I are not debating who should be in the presidential cabinet when we're sleeping together.
That's a good point.
I'm yelling out all kind of other stuff.
Give us an example.
now I'm intrigued.
Hit me with your... We'll be back.
A whole bunch of our grandpas and grandmas fought to give us freedom, and we owe it to them to pass on the inheritance of freedom to the next generation. And one of the most basic ways we do that is by exercising our right to vote. Get out and do it.
Go to our website now and get registered to vote your view.
Station 19, Thursday on ABC.
Hey, welcome back. I just wanted to point out, today would have been my brother's 68th birthday.
Oh.
And I actually tweeted about him today because, somebody sent me a great picture of him. That's not the picture. I couldn't figure out how to put that picture on Twitter. The whole thing just went to hell in a handbasket. But, and so this is what I'm going to say to people today about this. If you have siblings and you've been fighting or you're not talking to them for any reasons, my brother and I had no issues. We were always in communication, but I have lots of friends whose, as we get older, siblings pass away and they don't get the opportunity to say what they need to say. If you have siblings, give them a call today. Just say hey. Just even if you're not talking to them, just say I was thinking about you and I know that you and I just can't talk, but hi, bitch. Bye. Okay?
Can I say and parents too?
And parents.
And grandparents.
Yes.
And I don't want to do whatever, but my brother Jimmy, I saw your photo, and my brother Jimmy and his wife Holly are like the biggest support in my life right now.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about brothers in particular, especially right at this moment in my life, that I don't know. I was really touched by
there's
the
nothing
photo.
like it. I have to say, it never occurred to me. Because he's 6 years older than I was. But if you have family members who went from an aneurysm and no one says to you, hey, get yourself checked. Because my mom went from an aneurysm. Nobody said to us, you guys should get yourselves checked. My brother went from an aneurysm. Get yourself checked.
But you know what? You never regret making that extra call. Megan and I would talk a lot when she was going through that with her dad. She said, am I taking too much time off work? And I said, no, because you can never take that time back. And if you call your grandparent, you call your parent, you're never going to regret doing that. You're never going to regret apologizing or just finding that common ground again.
It's a good thing. So, on to something a little bit different. So Lady Gaga was at Elle's Women in Hollywood event wearing an oversized suit that she said made a fashion statement that women are not members of a giant beauty pageant and we need to resist the standards of dressing to impress. What do you think?
She looked great. I don't know that I could go without the bra.
Oh, I hate bras so much.
How do you know she doesn't have a bra?
Yeah, I think you can tell. That's like a little bit of tape. That's just a little tape.
Can we just ban bras altogether? They're the most uncomfortable.
No, because Joy and I are going to come out here like offending everybody. I got to wear a bra, man. No offense. That's it. I will come out offending everybody. Joy won't. I got to wear a bra.
I would love to not have a bra, but I can't. I have to wear one.
She looks real perky in that picture.
She's wearing cups. I believe, to keep underneath. She may not be, and I haven't worn a bra in 40 years. We'll be right back.
Last night, we found out how the Connors dealt with losing Roseanne.
I know Roseanne would want me to step in and watch over the family.
And stars Michael Fishman and Lacey Goranson reveal what the family reunion was like backstage. Next.
Nothing? No?
Last night, millions of Americans were thrilled to welcome the Connors back into their homes. And we're thrilled to welcome two of the show stars right now. Please welcome Michael Fishman and Lacey Goranson. So first, let's say congratulations. Congratulations to all of you and to the crew as well. Yeah. The success last night was kind of fabulous, but let's not pretend y'all have not been through it this last year. How you doing?
A lot better now. It was...
Does anybody know what happened?
I think everybody knows what happened. If you don't know, if you weren't in America this year, our show was a huge hit, our show Roseanne, last season, and it was a mega, mega hit, and it was so good. Just a wonderful show, and I was so, so proud of it. And then Roseanne, you know, did this racist tweet, and then our show was pulled off the air, and within hours, within 2 hours, it was just gone, and all of our syndication was gone. Everything just dissolved. Yeah. And it was so, so painful on so many levels. Yeah. And so frustrating because I feel like our culture was just full of ire and wanted to just attack. And then we were left in this position where we had no job. The crew had no job.
Right. Everybody was out.
And there was this woman who is our mother on a show that we've known for 30 years, who is behind this. And it was just so painful and confusing, and it was just gone.
Yeah. Well, in last night's episode, which was the premiere, we found out that Roseanne's character died from a prescription drug overdose. That's how they killed her off. So Roseanne and her rabbi released a statement last night saying, I'll read it, quote, "While we wish the very best for the cast and production crew of The Connors, we regret that ABC chose to cancel Roseanne by killing off the Roseanne Connor character, that it was done through an opioid overdose, lent an unnecessary grim and morbid dimension to an otherwise happy family show." Then Roseanne also, on top of that, tweeted, "I ain't dead, bitches." She seems mad. What do you say?
Well, what I would say is there's an opioid crisis in this country.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that people really have resonated with our show is that we never skip out on a topic. We never take the easy way out. And so when you looked at Roseanne Connor, the character last year, who had an addiction to painkillers, who had this kind of underlying storyline already going.
So it followed.
When the producers went to do this, I think what they really thought is, what's going on in this country that we can tap into, that can be an honest story, that we can relate to people? And I think that's what the show's always been about. So I think that's why that decision was made.
And it wasn't an overnight decision. It wasn't out of vengeance. It wasn't out of anger. It was very, very considered. And there was a lot, you know, we have a lot of executive producers, and it was a debate. It wasn't just, oh, let's do this. This is a great idea. It was very, very thoughtfully wrought. And of course, we also all felt the consequences of that. I mean, it has felt like a death to us as well in real life.
Yeah.
And opioid addiction is savaging this nation right now. So I also give it up to this show for addressing things that are very hard, and it's a huge epidemic within the country. I love Roseanne. I grew up watching it. I'm big fans of both of you. I loved the show when it first came back as Roseanne because I thought it really reflected the middle of the country, which is where I'm from. How are you guys going to continue reflecting the middle of the country on this incarnation of the Connors?
Well, that's what our show's about, so we can't help but not. That's really, the spirit of that is still our primary, who we advocate for. You know, of course, not having her character there, unfortunately, again, removed some of that really interesting political dynamic that was happening last season, but it's still there. You know, there's a lot that's still there.
So in my character's case, getting Gina back, my wife on the show, what you see is you have new characters who have that voice, who have bits and pieces of it, but what this show's always been about is we kind of go beyond just politics. It's really all of the socioeconomic issues that a family goes through that I think everybody can relate to. And what you always see is both sides of every issue, because people have different stances. And then kind of how we come together with humor and love to kind of overcome those things, even if we disagree.
Yeah, that was the basic heart of the show.
Yeah, always. So, you're married to a sister. Not to his sister. He's married to a sister. And you all have a child together. What was this important to show? I was thrilled. And the child looks like their kid. Okay, usually when you see a mixed couple, the child is so light that you think, well, what? Who baby is that?
I have to say,
that baby looks like you.
Well, I love Jaden Ray plays our daughter Mary.
Yes.
And she is just this amazing bundle of light and energy. And she has great side eye. She gives you great attitude and reaction and has this real depth to her. And then this year we have Mylin Robinson, who has come in to play my wife. And it has been this amazing gift. She is this wonderful light of joy, but she's also
veteran on the show.
She's strong, and then we get to cover veteran topics because I'm a veteran and she's still active duty in the show, which gives us a chance to voice things that you just don't see enough. And I think not just middle America, but all of America, we don't talk enough about veterans issues and the things that go on in families and being in an interracial couple and having a biracial child. And I think it's an excellent time to represent this country well.
Good.
I think this question is yours.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always mess up the celebrity interviews. I'm so sorry. Your husband, Mark, on the original Roseanne series, tragically died from a drug overdose as well. Yeah. You've seen that presence felt on set every day. Can you explain that?
I think, you know, there was a show last season that was dedicated to him. Becky was going through fertility treatments, and she realizes in that episode that she's kind of been arrested since his death. And, you know, again, our show went in and said he's not lost. You know, he's gone. And it was really weird because we felt a lot of his presence. You know, I'm a little woo-woo anyway, but some of the people that didn't even know him, things would happen, and we just knew. Yeah. Sometimes you just know that the person is with you, and we did, and there were times when, like, Johnny Galecki, who's going to be on the next episode next Tuesday, who we love. When he was around, we just knew Glenn was around because he wanted to, you know, give him hell.
He wants to play. And for us, as long as this show goes, he will always be part of this. And we include his family, and they're there with us at times. And we want to make sure that he's always remembered.
Well, we're glad you're back. That's the first thing. So thanks to Michael Cushman and Lisa Goranson. The Conners airs Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. right here on ABC. Do yourself a favor, check it out. You will not be unhappy.
Guys, guess who? I am back at the table. I can't wait to talk to my ladies just like old times. Do not change that channel.
A lot of people should take a page from our friend and former co-host Jedediah Bila's new book, Do Not Disturb, How I Ghosted My Cell Phone, Take Back My Life. And we are happy to welcome back to the table, Jedediah Bila. The last time I saw you, you were walking down the aisle.
Oh, in a white dress that was like this big.
It was gorgeous. The wedding was gorgeous.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm really happily married, which is, you know, funny because for so many years I was like, I don't know if I want to get married. I don't know if any of you guys felt that way. Jeremy's backstage. We're going to LA after this for some fun book stuff. And I didn't know for years, do I want to get married? And he calms me. I'm crazy. Some of you guys know that. You know that for sure. I'm a little off the wall, and he's very calm. So it's really good and healthy for me. So.
And your wedding was unplugged. I mean, I'll admit, I didn't unplug during your wedding, right? I still had my phones, but
she wasn't really on it, though. She wasn't. She got a little card.
Yeah, I wasn't on it. But so this is something that you've been passionate about for a while.
Yeah, I wrote this book. Okay, so do you know that you're in the book? No. You probably don't even know that. You are in the book. You are in the book as well. Okay. You made the cut. And so everybody's in the book. Basically, they'll have to read the book to find out what I said. But no, I've been passionate about this topic for a really long time because I, as Whoopi knows, as many of you know, was addicted to my cell phone. At this very table right here, I would sit on commercial breaks, both of us too. We went to Disney. You remember we did that fun where we put Sunny on all the rides? We were plugged in.
What are you reading? Are you
all the time? Scrolling through Twitter, commercial breaks.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was losing the ability to just make eye contact. I got nervous. I'm a former teacher and a former dean. I got nervous about what it was doing to our kids to not have those conversations face to face. I got scared, and I'll never forget a moment where Whoopi was at the table and it was commercial break and heads were down, and then on the air you made a comment, and it's in the book. You say something like, you know, I don't have to talk to you guys, but every now and then it might be nice. And I said, wow, I'm sitting at a table with Whoopi Goldberg, which is amazing. I still remind, every now and then I have to like check in with myself that I did that. And I'm not paying attention. I could have had a moment with her. I could have had a moment with Joy. I could have had a moment with anyone at this table. But I was too worried about what some person hiding behind some fake picture on Twitter was saying about our show.
Yeah.
So it was a wake-up call. That was the moment where I was like, I had already started the process, but I hadn't done enough. And I was like, you know what? I'm kicking it into high gear. Yeah.
So we are all becoming a little bit addicted to our phones. I mean, we do it too. I stopped bringing it. Well, today anyway.
You cheat sometimes. So you got the watch, Joy.
What are you, writing a book?
You got the watch.
You're in her book.
I do. I have the watch. But anyway, so what's going to happen? I mean, we were just talking about, you know.
Do you have that watch?
I always hear her check in.
She has the Apple Watch.
So what?
She's talking about unplugging.
So I have the Apple Watch. What am I, Charles Manson? Let's move on. So what do you think is going to happen? Are we all going to be dating robots? Is that what's going to happen?
I talk about sex robots in the book, actually. It's scary. Well, that's the problem, right? Is that you start off by, it started with the laptop, and then you took the laptop everywhere, and suddenly the workday had no end, and now you were working all through the night. Then you get to the cell phone, and you're on, oh, there's a safety pin. You're on the phone all the time. Now you got the watch. In fact, I put in the book, remember when your phone rang on air that day?
Yeah. I don't remember.
It rang on air. It was Call Me Maybe, by the way.
Her ringtone.
Which was amazing. And
I used to have that ringtone, too.
Yeah.
So happened 3 times.
Yeah. Fake news. Then you have your cell phone, and then you know.
And then people have multiple
everywhere.
phones. So the thing is, this is not a book where I got preachy and I was like, throw your phone away, toss it into the river, let's go back to the Telegraph. It was not. That's not realistic for now.
So what are we supposed to do instead?
You're supposed to, basically what I did was I put certain boundaries on myself. I give myself a cell phone curfew at night. A couple of hours before bed, I take that phone, I put it in a docking station in the living room. I say, that's it. I hang out with my husband. The phone does not go in the bedroom anymore. It's not allowed in the bedroom. It stays in a docking station.
But you need to use it for an alarm.
No, no. See, that's the first excuse I get. What about a conventional alarm clock? You never heard of a conventional alarm?
I use it for an alarm.
This one is the worst. She was online at Disney ordering, shopping for clothes. I'm like, what are you doing on there?
Yeah.
She figured it all out.
What if you're watching porn on there? You have to go.
That's bad.
Oh my God.
You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that.
That's bad.
So I did stuff like that. I turned the notifications off. Everybody knows when you go to your phone and you see a whole page lit up of stuff like, I got to answer this person. You freak out. And it's causing, there's a rise in ADHD that's coinciding with a rise in these devices. We now have an attention span that's less than the attention span of a goldfish. This should be scary, not just for adults.
That's the science behind it now?
That's the, yes. And not only that, this was the thing that got me too.
Glug.
I know.
It's all right, we'll get you there. There are detox centers popping up all over the country for tech addiction. where they take your phone away and they have you unplug. Kids are developing conditions like eye strain that they shouldn't be getting for decades because they're like this all the time. So I became passionate and I felt like I can't do this and spread this message unless I change my life. So it's a work in progress, but I feel a lot healthier. Feel a lot better.
Yeah, my 10-month-old, that's all she wants now is my phone.
Is the phone.
It freaks me out. I'm like, we are in for it because this is the new world.
Oh yeah, they basically pop out of the womb.
I'm gonna try, Jen.
I'm gonna try.
Leave you.
Yeah.
She's gonna do it.
I have 2 phones, by the way. All right, thanks to our good friend, Jed Bila. Her new book, Do Not Disturb, How I Ghosted My Cell Phone to Take Back My Life, is available now. And guess what? You're all going home with a copy.